Welcome to this explainer. Let's just dive right in and explore how a massive leap in artificial intelligence and biology is literally changing medicine from reactive to proactive. For decades, modern healthcare has essentially been playing a giant game of catch-up. We wait for symptoms to show up, or we rely on static genetic markers that only hint at what might happen someday. But what if we could see exactly what's happening inside your body right now, in real time? Well, that is the exact promise of GenArtis DataDiscover. They're building an AI and metabolomics platform designed for diagnostics and precision oncology. And their whole mission is to give us actionable biological insights way before a disease actually takes hold. Now, think about the sheer scale of the medical timing problem, especially when it comes to oncology. 30 to 50%. Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. That is the shocking percentage of patients who simply do not respond to their first-line cancer therapies. Imagine dealing with a cancer diagnosis, gearing up for a rigorous treatment plan, and knowing you have basically a coin flip's chance that the very first treatment you endure won't actually fight the disease. Because we absolutely have to confront this stark reality. The current standard of care, it relies heavily on waiting. It's heartbreaking, really. Patients go through immense toxicity, terrible side effects, and astronomical costs, all while losing critical time waiting for a scan, weeks or even months down the line, just to finally see if a treatment is doing anything. During this waiting period, the disease can progress, the biological clock is ticking, and we desperately need a faster way to know if we're on the right track. So, how do we solve this agonizing wait? Well, let's introduce the real heroes of our story here, metabolites. You might be wondering, what exactly are they? They're basically small molecules, think sugars, amino acids, and lipids, that your body produces during metabolism. They are the actual physical chemical processes keeping our cells running right at this very moment. And because they represent the live, current state of your cellular engine, any tiny little change in their levels acts as an immediate, early warning biomarker that a normal metabolic process has been disrupted by disease. And the way this plays out in the body is fascinating. These specific sugars, lipids, and amino acids act as real-time warning signals firing off throughout our human nervous and cardiovascular systems. For instance, specific amino acids or peptides correlate directly to conditions like Alzheimer's disease or diabetes. Literally every single second, your body is churning out these molecules. So if we can read them, we can essentially read the live status of your health across all your major organs. This brings us to a massive paradigm shift. It's the difference between what we've relied on in the past and what we can actually do today. Think of it this way. If genomics is a static architectural blueprint of what could happen to you based on inherited traits, metabolomics is the live traffic camera showing us what's actually happening right now. Your genomic risk is static, right? Which often leads to late detection. But your metabolome, it's influenced by your lifestyle, your diet, your environment. It is a fully actionable, real-time biological state. To actually capture and use all this real-time data, GenArtis DataDiscover is tackling a huge computational problem. Because, frankly, our bodies produce thousands of these small molecules. Capturing them via mass spectroscopy is one thing, but making sense of them, that requires serious computing power. So GenArtis uses artificial intelligence as a kind of decoder ring for the human body's real-time metabolic state. By combining untargeted metabolomics with longitudinal AI modeling, they can spot subtle metabolic shifts way before physical symptoms ever appear. This leads us right into Metascan, their first flagship wellness product. And what's brilliant is how elegantly simple the workflow actually is. You give a collection of serum through a simple test to capture your present state. That serum goes through mass spectrometry, which generates this massive data set of your current metabolomics. And then, this is the magic part, the AI algorithm bridges that present metabolic state directly to your future diabetic risk. It gives you a crystal clear picture of what your future looks like if you don't make changes today. And hey, let me be clear, this is not just some neat theory. The Metascan AI model is continually learning from huge data sets. We're talking about profiling roughly 500 different disease-linked metabolites, and it's backed by a massive clinical cohort of over 25,000 middle-aged participants from the general population. They even have 10-year longitudinal data published in top-tier places like Nature Medicine, validating these correlations. This lets Metascan accurately assess early risk not just for diabetes, but for heart disease, kidney issues, and even neurological conditions like Parkinson's.
Now, because Metascan operates dynamically as a wellness tool in India rather than a strict clinical diagnostic tool, the way they can take this to market is incredibly agile. It can instantly scale across corporate wellness programs aiming to keep employees healthy or slide perfectly into preventative healthcare clinics. It even allows insurance companies to better profile risk and offer premium reductions for healthier living. And honestly, it can integrate directly into the fitness industry and digital health apps to really empower you to make personalized early lifestyle changes.
But GenArtis isn't stopping at just wellness and metabolic tracking. Let's pivot for a second to their second major product, OncoPulse AI. Remember that devastating 30 to 50% cancer treatment failure rate we talked about at the very beginning? This tackles that head on. This is precision oncology designed to predict cancer therapy response in days rather than forcing patients to wait agonizing months to see if a highly toxic chemotherapy regimen is actually shrinking their tumor. The clinical workflow for this is remarkably straightforward. It essentially relies on a blood-based liquid biopsy mixed with metabolomics. Step 1, you just take a baseline blood sample before treatment even starts. Step 2, you take an early on-treatment blood sample just shortly after the therapy kicks off. And Step 3, the AI steps in to model the metabolic and molecular trajectories between those 2 points. It's quite literally watching how the patient's biological state is reacting in real time. The real-world impact here? It's absolutely incredible. By predicting non-response in just weeks, doctors get the superpower to avoid giving patients ineffective chemotherapy, which heavily reduces that patient toxicity. And a huge point here, this works even when circulating tumor DNA or ctDNA is low, which is a massive hurdle for a lot of other diagnostics. Earlier research on this tech actually shows over 95% accuracy in detecting clinical events. They're going to initially focus on bringing this to market for breast and colorectal cancers using standard chemo regimens. So how does this all come together from a business strategy perspective? GenArtis has built a brilliantly balanced dual revenue model. On one side, you've got Metascan, that's the wellness and preventive health engine, giving them high-scale, early revenue generation targeting consumers and corporate wellness. On the flip side, you have OncoPulse, the precision oncology tool. That represents massive, high-impact, long-term value in the clinical and pharma trial space, directly focused on better outcomes for cancer patients. Diving into the numbers for a second, the unit economics are actually incredibly strong. With the test price ranging from 5,000 to 20,000 rupees, they project really robust gross margins of 60 to 75% post-scale. But the wildest part to me, look how lean the operation is. They only need about 150 tests a month to break even, all while maintaining a monthly burn rate of around 15 lakh rupees. That just screams highly scalable platform ready for volume growth. To actually make this whole vision a reality and hit their key 12-month milestones, the founders, Dr. Rajat Anand and Jatin Anand, are raising 2 crore rupees. It's a very strategic split. 1 crore goes straight to CapEx to finance a mass spectrometer lab from Thermo Fisher, while the other 1 crore is purely for 12 months of operations, building out the team and really executing the go-to-market strategy for both Metascan and OncoPulse. As we start to wrap up this explainer, I think the founder's mission statement really hits the nail on the head as to why this shift is so vital. Whether it's catching your diabetes risk years before your glucose permanently spikes, or giving an oncologist the exact data they need to switch out a failing cancer treatment in days instead of months, the core goal is exactly the same. Enable earlier decisions, improve outcomes, and transform healthcare through real-time metabolic intelligence. I want to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on regarding your own metabolic wellness and the future of preventative medicine. If a simple blood test could use AI to read the live state of your cells and accurately predict your health a decade from now, what proactive changes would you make today? It's pretty wild to think that the technology to answer that question is no longer just science fiction. It's exactly what GenArtis is building right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.